American Godzilla, welcome to the family. It's great to be here. It's all I ever wanted in my life.
Hey guys, can I join the club?
Blah.
Oh god, why?
Burn! Kill it with fire! Hey guys, welcome back to Unimportant Reviews. My name's Steve, and today we'll be going over the SH MonsterArts Godzilla 2000 Millennium. This has been released by Bandai Tamashii Nation, and initially when I first seen this figure, I thought it was kind of weird because this doesn't look like Godzilla 2000 Millennium from the movie that I really like. This was actually a concept version of the suit that they had. It's supposed to look a lot more fierce than that one actually did, while that one looked more like King Kong versus Godzilla with a lot more badass spikes. But I actually think it's really cool that they're bringing this at least this version of the suit out, just so that, like, I already have some 2000 Millennium figures in my collection, so it's kind of cool that they actually have, like, he's a lot more unique than the other one. So I figure I'd pick it up because I just thought it was really neat. And as you can see, it's currently not in the packaging because I've had this guy for a little bit, and I've already been playing with him and whatnot. And mainly we just wanted to put this review out just so you guys can get a better understanding of the character, because we've noticed that he's been going up in price a lot, so we just wanted you guys to hear our honest opinion on the figure. But for the packaging, I really do like the Godzilla image right here, because it's just the image of the face from the toy that's in the packaging. It's really cool because it has this nice menacing pose, and then I like how it has the clear plastic where it looks like he's like slashing at the packaging. That's actually a really awesome touch. And it has the same thing up here at the top with the Godzilla 2000 Millennium. And same for the side with more of his skin and his dorsal plates. For the other side, just shows another picture of him. And then for the back, it just gives you nice images of the action figure in the packaging striking some dynamic poses. And then down here, some more gibberish that I can't really read. But that's enough about the packaging. Let's get him up. Well, he's already opened up. Let's just get into him. So getting straight into the action figure here, because it doesn't actually come with any accessories, which is a little bit of a bummer. Starting with the sculpt here, I really do love this head sculpt on him. It looks fantastic. He has a lot more of a menacing look than the 2000 had, with his fangs that are coming off to the sides here. And I really love just how his eyes came out. They just kind of have like that more like lifeless evil kind of look to it. Except for the only problem mine is right here he has a little blemish on his eye, which is a little bit sad on mine, but it's just something that shows up in a lot of mass-produced figures. So it happens on occasion, so I can't really fault him too much for that. And then just the amount of detail that's going on in the mouth here. So you see all the ridges and the paint that's going on in there. And his tongue is actually a little bit posable, so you can move it up and down, which is really good for the articulation of the mouth, because you pretty much have to bring it down all the way if you want his mouth to come up a lot. Otherwise the tongue will get in the way. And then just the sculpt on his body here is just phenomenal. I really love all like the wrinkling scale effect coming along here. And then his hands with the claws here. Like, they look like they could do some damage. And then for his legs. Then I really love I don't know why, but just on this figure in general, I just really loved how the feet came out. Where it has like that webbing kind of look coming across each of the feet. I think that's actually a really nice touch that they had. And then for the tail here. Which actually, come to find out, this is actually the longest articulated Godzilla tail that they've released so far. I can get my camera focus back in. And then just for the dorsal plates here too, like each of these are all individually sculpted. So just the amount of work that they put into this figure is just fantastic. And overall, like, those things just look phenomenal. Like, there's just literally just really just nothing wrong with this guy. Like, in terms of overall design and everything, I think this guy just came out far above and beyond my expectations. And even though it's not exactly like the Godzilla 2000 mold, I still really do appreciate that they gave us a concept version, because he's literally just unique out of my entire collection. And then getting into the articulation, he has quite a few. His mouth can move, this is about as high up as it can go, so that's pretty much about the look you're going to get. But he has a joint right here at the base of the head, and then here at the neck, here, and right here, so you pretty much move it like a crazy amount down, which kind of weird, but I still like it because they give you a lot of the posability with it. And you can move his head side to side. So he gets a lot of range of motion with just the upper portion of his head. And one thing I actually really liked about this guy so far compared to some of my other SHs is I haven't really had any problems with anything popping out on me. And then for his mouth, it could open up and down. Gets a little bit of a pivot side to side. And his tongue is also articulated, as I showed you guys earlier, so it can move up and down as well. Which is a really, really awesome touch. And then for his body, he has a bend up here at the chest and where the tummy starts coming across. So he has a nice crunch. And also gets a bit of a rotation up here, which is really cool. And he also has articulation at the waist. So he gets actually a really, really nice range of motion just on twisting. Which is really cool. And then you get him like looking up to roar and bending down. And then for his arms, he has a joint at the shoulder, which pretty much gets all the way around. Move all the way around, 360. Then he has a bend at the elbow. It also has a rotation at the elbow. Which is weird because it has like a bend here and like right up here. So he has like a double elbow joint, which is really cool. And then for his hand, it's also on a ball joint. So his hand has a rotation here, can go all the way around. Can bend, which is really, really nice. Like I haven't really complained too much about any of the articulations on these guys. And then for his legs here, move up, move down, move in and out, which is really nice. And then he also has a double joint at the knees, which he doesn't get a whole lot of bending here, which is pretty much fine because as long it goes straight for like the swimming poses. So if you want to have his legs back and coming out, you kind of get him like he's like swimming in the water. Or you move his head up a bit, and you can bring it down. And then his feet are also on the ball joint, so they get nice pivot and go back and forth. And there's also a joint up here at the middle of the leg. And then for his tail, it's pretty much segmented at each of these little joints. I think the official joint stops right here at the end. So it's pretty much that little segment there, right, and is the only part that isn't articulated on this. So he gets a wide range of posing with his tail, which is something I really have loved on these guys pretty much ever since I was a kid. I always wanted my Godzilla's tail because usually they're pretty fixed and they only go like, it's like bending up and you can only rotate side to side or something, and that's even if it moves. So these guys actually give me something that I've been really wanting since I was 5, and overall, especially in articulation on this guy, it's just insane on how much of articulation they get on this guy. And overall on him, the gapping isn't really all that bad. Because the only major gapping is pretty much right here underneath his arm. And then at the legs here, but if you adjust the leg and stuff, you can get rid of that gapping here. This is pretty much the only spot that's going to relatively show up on him. Because even if I bring it over, like you could fix a lot of this. Just kind of mess with it a little bit. For a quick comparison, here's the SH Godzilla 2000 Millennium compared next to my go-to with the SH High Seas, which I think overall in design, he scales really nicely with him because this is my favorite of the Godzilla so far that I've gotten out of the line. But it's just insane on how much detail they put into these guys. And then just to show off the articulated tail for you guys, because this tail, they're about the same length. If I can get his feet up. Yeah, the tails are overall pretty much the same length. But for his articulation, it stops literally right here. Which is where they're getting at this is the longest articulated tail, because his literally goes almost all the way to the end here. Which, overall in this one, I thought it was really nice, but this just blows me away how little of joints they can get here. And again, I haven't had any problem with this just separating on me randomly, unlike the Batcher figure. And for a quick comparison, we have the SH Godzilla 2000 Millennium compared next to the Bandai America Godzilla. Which, I was really happy when I got this figure originally, even though he has the crimson dorsal fins, which are kind of weird. Well, I thought he had a cool little pose, but it's just, that guy's just amazing. And just makes this guy just kind of obsolete for me nowadays. So overall, with the Godzilla 2000 Millennium, I think this guy is a fantastic toy. Like, the overall mold on this guy is just amazing. His articulation, equally amazing. And for the original price I got, I really thought he was worth it, which I picked him up when he started going up in price at about $100, which I thought was fine at the time. And I would recommend, if you guys are planning on getting this guy, I would probably get it sooner than later, because he's probably only just going to go up. So I really do recommend actually picking him up, because I think he's just a cool, unique mold. And if I'm really hoping that they end up putting out an Orga, and I've heard some kind of rumors for it. I don't know how true they are. But this is probably one of my other favorite monsters is that guy, so I'm really hoping that they release him. So this guy was really worth picking up for me regardless. So what do you guys think? Did you guys like Godzilla 2000? Do you guys think this guy's a cool action figure? Or are you just not a fan of pricey things? Please let us know in the comments. If you want to see closer pictures of this guy, please check our Facebook. It's in the link in the description below. And if you guys like this and want to see more stuff like this, please give us a like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. Hey, I'm just welcome to Super Report Reviews. My name's Steve. Today we're going over the Bandai Tamashii Nation SA's MonsterArts Garuda. Steven? Yeah, GMK? Why are you reviewing this? Well, you see, this is my new acquisition I got from G-Fest, one of my Holy Grail figures, and I was just really excited to get to review this. But I'm literally the new hotness. Well, if you would have came in normally and not been super late and everybody else already have a review out for you, maybe I would have done you already. But it's not my fault I wasn't shipped out on time. Are you crying? I just want to be reviewed. Okay, geez, I'm sorry. Stop getting my review table wet. I'll review you. Hold on, let me go get your box. Jeez, man. Works every time. Hey Rangers, welcome to Super Important Reviews. My name's Steve.
My name is Arnez.
Today we're going over the newest SH MonsterArts figure that I finally acquired because he took forever to come in the mail, which is the SH MonsterArts Godzilla 2001 here.
I was about to say, Steve, didn't I see these reviews already like a week ago?
Yeah, literally everybody's had their reviews out for weeks. I'm just getting around to mine. It's not that I've had better things to do, it's just I haven't had the figure to do it. But if you guys didn't know, he's also known as GMK Godzilla, which is from the film Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack. That is a mouthful. And they also forgot Bargon in the title because he's in the movie as well.
I was about to say, Steve, I'm looking at your poster right now, and aren't you missing a monster in there?
Just a little. Which would be cool if we actually get more things to go along with this guy. But yeah, I've actually been pretty excited about this kaiju because if you guys have seen my top 30 Godzilla movies, GMK isn't as high as some of the other movies on the list. Maybe because in terms of a movie, it's okay. For Godzilla though, this guy's sweet.
I haven't seen this movie yet, Steve. What am I doing here?
Yeah, I don't even know either. You just kind of sat in the chair when I started trying to do this.
I'm going along with this. Who is this guy? What is he?
So needless to say, really excited about this guy. Without further ado, for the packaging, kind of wish you could see the figure inside of the package. I do like that it has the figure displayed here on the front, though, with the slashes on the cardboard, or designed into the cardboard to make it look like he's like clawing into it, which is pretty cool, but I like to see the figures inside before you buy them. It's kind of cool, even though, granted, I ordered this guy, but still be cool, nonetheless. But you get Godzilla 2001, came out 2016, Bandai Collector's Shop on the top right corner, and Tamashii Nation Bandai on the side here. Get actually a pretty nice little pose of GMK right there. Other side of the packaging, not so nice poses, but his name at the bottom. And on the top of the packaging, get his name technically at the top, MonsterArts, some more slashings. And then you get Godzilla in some pretty dynamic poses. They use some blue lighting there to make it look like he's underwater. That's pretty neat. Some stuff I can't understand, and some legal mumbo jumbo.
Are you gonna do that, Steve?
Probably not.
You're failing on the pictures then.
Who cares that he's underwater? Well, granted, it's cool that he can do it, but I've never seen anybody actually display their Godzilla like this.
Oh, I got that camera underwater. We'll just put him underwater, take pictures, right? Yeah, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah. No, let's just get this guy opened up out of his cardboard prison. Alright, so we got this guy opened up out of his cardboard prison. First, we're going to go over his, 0 accessories, because he came with nothing.
No atomic roar or anything? Blast? Anything?
No, I kind of wish he did, because, to my understanding, there's only one Godzilla figure with a blue atomic blast, which is the first, production run of the Heisei Godzilla. If you got the second production run, you got nothing. So it would have been cool to actually have the blue atomic blast here for him to actually replicate it from the film. That would have been awesome. But I could kind of see them at the price point skipping out of that for us, because this is actually a fairly huge freaking Godzilla.
How much is he?
I think he ran me about $75 before shipping.
So how much like atomic roar, or atomic blast would cost? Like,
granted, it's not that much money, but for this guy being a fairly bulky figure, it's understandable.
All right, another thing is, I see why you're funny, Steve. You said I can do the accessories on this guy.
Alright, so for a closer look at his details, head sculpt is gorgeous on this guy. With his ginormous bulky face, with his really bone-coloring teeth. Like, they are very discolored on this figure. Looks really cool, though. I really love his, like, stupid, huge, gnarly mouth.
It's amazing.
Yeah, even with the detail on the inside of the mouth, looks really nice, too, with that more brown color underneath his, like, for the base of his mouth and on the roof here. And then for his tongues, even a little bit more of a browner shade. It's not quite blood red as what I'm used to on some of these Godzilla figures. Like, mine is definitely a little off color, to say the least. Godzilla's eyes, which he's pupilless.
Yeah, I was about to say that. What is up with that, Steve?
Well, in the movie, he's reincarnation of vengeful spirits from World War II, I do believe.
My God, I want to get into this movie.
It's a strange movie. But for his eyes, you can see there's a little bit of white there to kind of represent a pupil. And then he has a little bit of this more darker metallic looking gray for the outside rim of his eyes. And it really helps to make them pop, which I really do like. And then the scaling for his head looks really nice, and pretty much for the rest of his body looks really good. You can see a little bit of a differentiating texture underneath his neck here. The same with on the front of his body. Where it has this pattern going on, you can see here on the front of his stomach and on his chest, where it definitely seems a little more segmented, while the rest of his scaling is like what you expect to see on every other Godzilla.
Still looks neat, though. I like it.
Yeah, it gives him a little bit of variety, even though he's pretty much one stagnant charcoal gray color scheme for the rest of his body. What's cool, too, about this guy is I like how everybody complains about Shin Godzilla having stupid huge hips, but look at those things. They're gigantic. Like, this kaiju has a huge lower section. He's also got a little bit of a beer gut going on there.
Hey, man. He can't help it.
He's got a six-pack, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it looks more like a kegger.
But for his upper body, still looks very proportionate to what you see in the films. Really like the shape of his arms, look really good. You can see a little bit of a muscle bulge there on the bicep. He's got his 4 fingers in his thumb, which looks really good. Some decent detailing on the palm. With his nails being a little bit more of a light gray shading, and then it fades off once you get towards the base of the fingers, which is the same as his dorsal spines, which looks really great too. You can even see some of the detailing on the actual spines where they have this little specks going on there, and you get his segmenting rows going down his back.
I was worried there for a second, Steve. When you were holding it this way, it looks like this dorsal spine was broken, but when you I was like, oh God, that looks bad.
Alright, you got to my one complaint.
Wow.
I kind of like the variety in the shape of the spines, but to me, it looks kind of odd, especially that one in the center here, being a little shifted. Like, I can tell that's part of the sculpt, but even when you see it looking at it this way, it kind of bends weird, which throws me off a little bit. But it kind of makes sense for what's going on here, because you can see even on some of the other dorsal spines, they're kind of curving in on each other. It's just, when I initially got out of the package, it looked kind of fudged up, and there is a little bit of paint missing here and there on some of my dorsal spines, which is really my only major complaint that I've really seen. The other spot, too, is right here on GMK, is the scaling doesn't look quite as crisp as on some of the other parts, which I kind of get, because you can even see it right here at the top of the thigh, where the figure's going to be moving and rubbing around. Because you can see right here for the detailing on the muscle portion of his thigh, looks really good, but where the joint's going to be moving around, not so clean. But right here, it shows up in a lot of spots. Especially on the, because you can see right here on underneath his armpit, and it kind of blends in right here, which I'm not quite getting as much because a lot of this section right here wouldn't really be rubbing together. So the details don't really need to be as lackluster right there.
Yeah, even from a distance you can notice them because I'm kind of far away from the camera and I can notice the difference in the paint and everything.
Yeah, you can see it right here too.
Almost looks like they smoothed it out or something.
Yeah, that's what they were kind of going for because there's a lot of articulation going on right there. But generally, with Godzilla's arm is going to be kind of in a more forward position. That's not going to really be an issue right here. So I don't really get why it's not quite as crisp as most of the rest of the detailing on him. Because for his legs look awesome. I really like that his knees are calloused over, where it has this more rock appearance on the front. And then it kind of contradicts with a lot of the other scaling going on his leg here.
Can I ask you what he was doing, Steve?
I just gotta stay in the business somehow. But anyways, for his feet...
Oh, this is my favorite part, man.
How stupid huge his feet are, because they are pretty bulky. Which, for one thing I really like about him, though, they give him a really good base. So if you want to have him sitting a little bit forward with his tail up, they actually help out with that, which is really cool. You see it on a lot of the NECA figures. But on this guy, he has some stupid huge nails for his toes. Has that little one coming off here on the back section. So he has 4 in total. And some decent detailing on the palm of his, on the base of his feet. And that was the first time something's popped off on this guy. His arm's actually been staying on pretty good there. That was the first time I had an issue with it. I think that's going to be just a problem now. Seems like it's a little loose right there. So I was going to bring up the fact in the articulation that mine seemed a little bit better than some of the other reviewers I've seen doing this, which still seems pretty good, but that one arm is going to be popping off on what would be his left side when you're facing this way. Then finally we have his tail, which is probably the least impressive tail out of all the SH MonsterArts figures in my opinion.
Really? I like it that it's long.
Yeah, well, it's not really that long compared to most Godzilla figures, or most of the Godzillas. It's not even that bulky. It's actually a pretty thin tail overall. But then again, the movie wasn't that extravagant of a tail either. It's not like Shin Godzilla where it's going to be like going in every direction, you know?
Is that a bit, like, paint job that they messed up here, or is that how they just painted it?
That's just how it's painted. Because you can see here where you get the lighter gray on the back portion of the dorsal spines. Because it goes into from the 5 sections to the 3 sections, and then it comes out throughout the rest of the tail being a 3, even to the tip. But there is some weird sporadic paint job going on mine, where it's kind of light right here and right here, but darker in certain sections. So it does give it a little bit of color variety, but that could have maybe been done a little bit cleaner in my opinion, because even it's spreading around on the tip of the tail here. So there's a little bit of inconsistency in the paint job for the majority of the dorsal spines going on. Because you even notice it on parts of the upper section here too, where at the top of his shoulder, a lot of light gray there. Not so much here. A little bit there, a lot more there. Ton, not so much, ton, not so much, ton, not so much. You kind of get my point. So for the paint job, I do like that they definitely, the face sculpt is where it's at on this guy, where like the 2014 had a little bit of a derpy eye going on, and even on some of the other ones it can be a little bit hit and miss. But this guy's dorsal spines seem to be where a little bit of the paint inconsistencies are happening on mine. And then for the articulation, his mouth can open up about that far, which is pretty freaking insane.
Can you move his insides?
Yes, his tongue is articulated, so you can get it to move a little bit up and down. You can see me kind of moving around my thumb. You might have to use a little screwdriver or something flat to kind of get it to raise up. But you can see it's lifted up a little bit there.
Oh, that is awesome.
So there's some articulation there. His head can look up about that far, down about that far, a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. So really good range of motion for his head. And his arms can go up about that far, down about that far, all the way around. Then he has a rotation here at the upper part of the bicep, so his arm can go that far back, that far forward. His elbow can straighten up about that much. Bends in about that much.
Oh man, look at those sick pythons, dude.
Oh yeah, man, 24 inches right there. Probably shouldn't be using his hand for the articulation, because it's starting to pop loose again. But you do get a little bit of play there at the ball joint, so it can move a little bit back and forth. And showing him, yeah. Can move a little bit back and forth and rotates all the way around. And then for the chest area, can wiggle side to side a little bit. Be careful though when you're doing the articulation not to have the dorsal spines rubbing back here. Because when you bring it back, they get kind of close, so I'd just be a little bit worried. Same with doing the rotation. But he actually has a really nice forward lean.
Oh, that is nice, except it looks weird.
Yeah, it's good. Well, it's gonna look weird. It's
Yeah.
an articulated monster. It's not gonna be perfect. But it's one of those, like, if you look at it at angles, it looks good.
Oh, he can do a headbutt. That is awesome.
Yeah, I actually think this guy for stop motion would be really good. And straightens up about that much. So you get a lot of play there. And even a little bit of a swivel. So that's good. Then for his legs, can go outwards about that far.
Oh.
Inwards about that far. It's got a pretty good split. Can go forward about that far. Backwards about that far.
Oh, he has a lot of motion in his legs.
Really nice bend here at the knee. A little bit of a rotation here as well. For his feet, can straighten up about that far. And bend about that far, forward and back. And has a little bit of a pivot. And some rotation there as well. So his feet are actually very posable, which is really nice to see for this guy. And then for his tail, is mostly ball joints, but unlike some of the Godzillas, usually for each section you get a ball joint, and then it kind of flows throughout the tail. And then usually somewhere towards the tip, you lose the ball joint, it becomes sections. While on this guy, it seems like right around here is where this section is actually a hole, and then you get the two segments being one ball joint.
See, that's what I like about this, though. It's not like that one that you had for the NECA where you just move the tail, it just falls off, you know?
Well, there's that. I also like this, too, a little bit better than the 2000 one that came out. Because that Godzilla's tail is stupid huge. But with so many ball joints, it doesn't like to stay up pose. While this one sits up perfectly fine, which is really cool. You even get some really good angles with this. So I do love the articulation for the tail here as well. So in terms of articulation, this guy is stellar.
All right, Steve, for some comparisons, you said you wanted to make the GMK look the best thing ever. There you go. Look at that. Look at that comparison.
So what we have here, after finally getting set up, is the SH MonsterArts 2001 Godzilla compared next to the... God, I don't remember what they're called.
Seizurzilla.
It's Seizurzilla and basketball tummies. It's the... Oh, God. Tailstrike Godzilla from 2014, and... You're just Caesar's Godzilla, that's fine. And for some more comparison, here is with some Bandai vinyls from GMK with the Creations King Ghidorah and Godzilla 2001. And even though they're not from their movie, here is with some other SH MonsterArts figures with Heisei Mothra and Heisei King Ghidorah. And here is some NECA Pacific Rim figures with Crimson Typhoon and Ultimate Striker Eureka. And here is compared next to some other random Godzilla figures I have with the X plus 30 centimeter reissue Godzilla 1962 and the Marmot Godzilla 2000.
You're wrong about that. That's the Disco Night Godzilla.
Just need some disco lights. I love this thing though. All the colors. So for the SH MonsterArts Godzilla 2001, this figure, pretty sweet in my opinion. Granted, like we said before, his movie is definitely not my favorite of the series, but the kaiju I think is really cool, and the figure definitely conveys that. Really love its bulky appearance, really love the articulation, and the head sculpt on it's amazing. My only real qualm is I wish the paint job was maybe a little bit better on the dorsal spines and the tail, but it's just a little hiccup on an awesome figure. If you guys were planning to pick this up, definitely recommend getting into it.
One of my favorite things about this guy is just his gnarly claws in his hands and his feet. I don't know why, just to me, like he just looks amazing, like the way he stands with him. And like when you hunched him over with his back, you know, like the front, it just works out for me. Like I love it. I love how you can bend his tail in every way you want and it stays that way. It doesn't go back down. My only issue is those the dorsal spines. I don't like the way they're bent. Like when you look at it from a side, it looks like you cut it or ripped it off. You know, they were broken.
Yeah, but that's just more of a design choice than anything.
But it's like one of those things, like if I had to pick something that I didn't like about him, it would be one of those things. It's just because like when first time I see it when you were recording, I was like, oh my god, that thing is broken. You know, like I was like, seriously, like I was like, oh. But
I definitely say he's probably one of the most posable Godzillas that they put now in the line. So if you guys are really into playing around with your action figures, posing them, putting them in your dioramas, whatever you please, then I definitely recommend picking up GMK. But what do you guys think? Are you guys one of the many people that got GMK before I did? What's your favorite kaiju from GMK, or is 2014 just more your thing? Please let us know in the comments. We'll closer pictures of this guy on Facebook. You want to click the link in the description below. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button. Subscribe, become a ranger today, and see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
What are we gonna do, Kiryu? His defenses are just too strong.
Maybe if one of us can sneak up from...
He's just too powerful for us.
Curse you, googly eyes!
Hey Rangers, welcome to Super Important Reviews. My name's Steve.
Wait, my name's Ernest. Steve cut me off with all these lights. I can't even get close to it.
Hold on, I'll move everything. Jeez, big crybaby.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm on the video.
I want a
can't
full finger in here. There we go.
And today we'll be doing the SH MonsterArts Godzilla 2002. Well, reviewing it. We're not actually going to be doing it because that'd be weird. From Tamashii and Bandai.
Either way you said that, that sounded wrong, so you can't go back on that one.
This is from the film Godzilla x Mechagodzilla, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, whatever you want to call it, from 2002, the Millennium series. And super excited to be picking this up. I actually really like the film. I got to meet the director, and I have a signed autograph MonsterArts Kiryu, which kind of makes me sad right now because I realize I have to get that out of the package in order to do photos. Comparisons is probably going to be in the package, but I do...
What kind of comparison is that, Steve?
Because I don't want to get them out right now. I have Heavy Arms Kiryu. It's almost the same thing. It'll be fine.
Nobody will be able to notice, right?
Yeah, right? It's just blue and different weapons. It's still Kiryu's Kiryu.
That is true.
And sadly, a little bit late on getting this guy's review out, mainly because of the Japanese holiday that was going on not too long ago.
Oh, yeah.
When I went to pay for it, it was closed for like the week, so it took me a little bit to get a hold of this guy. Yeah, and I forgot that I didn't ship him EMS, and it was air small packet for reasons, so it took a while. But it's here now. We get to review it, so without further ado, for the packaging, kind of pretty. It's got like this nice baby blue.
I actually like the pose of him.
Yeah, you get that nice upshot of that giraffe neck that he has going on here.
I wasn't going to say it, but you had to, huh?
Might as well point out the obvious. But I like the coloring. I don't know really what it has to do with Kiryu, though. But it helps to make Godzilla stand out on the front of the packaging, so it's definitely doing its job. On the side here, Godzilla 2002. Opposite side, Godzilla in a nice menacing looking pose. Top of the package, just some more slashes on the top. And on the back just shows you him in some dynamic poses. Cool little poster shot there with Kiryu. Some stuff I can't understand. And some legal mumbo jumbo on the bottom.
Can you make up a picture like that too, Steve?
That one?
Yeah.
If I took enough time, yeah.
That's actually kind of cool.
Except for technically the background's the wrong color. If we're going with that. You got the Godzilla roar in here too. From, oh, that's tape. I was like, what the hell's right here? But from the one scene in the beginning of the movie. A nice little back shot there, too. But let's get him up out of his cardboard prison. Alright, so now that Godzilla's opened up out of his cardboard prison, first we're going to go over his wide range of accessories. Arnez.
This is my part. I got this, you guys.
Yep.
Give me the box. That's an accessory, I guess.
Yep, got the box. Here's the...
Alright, so
for his accessory.
For his accessories, you guys, you get this baby blue box. Looks adorable, makes him look pretty.
Yeah, you put it like here. If you turn them over, if you turn it sideways,
Chin up, Steve.
Chin up. Now you got a nice sky background behind him.
And how much was this accessory, Steve?
Well, it came with the figure, so it would have been the figure's price.
And how much was the figure price?
Like I remember, $70.
So this accessory's not bad for $70. I mean, it's pretty. It'll look beautiful in your closet or in the trash, depending on how you deal with your boxes.
Mine personally go in the closet because I use them to hold the accessories.
Oh, I see what you did there. Oh, that was pretty good, Steve.
Can't they ever just give you a beam effect with the first Godzilla figure? Come on. Like, we're getting another version of this, like 100%. There's no way we're not getting another version of this guy, because you need the one to go with Heavy Arms Kiryu. And I imagine that one will come with something else.
Yeah.
It always does. Like, for the most part with MonsterArts, I almost feel like you just, like, when the first one you see, you just skip.
Skip it.
There'll always be, like, the second one that just comes with more things. It's like the anime Godzilla that's coming out. And it comes with a little Godzilla that comes with it.
The picture of something with a little Godzilla.
And a ship. So why the fudge did I need the first one? Oh, I hate this company. No, honestly, seriously, I love MonsterArts, but it's just like
The choices.
this guy was like an easy like first pickup no matter what, because if they put out another one, it's going to be the Tokyo SOS, so it's not going to work with your other Kiryu, so you kind of need to pick this guy up. But it would have been nice to have seen maybe some kind of breath effect and maybe charge an extra $5. Alright, so for a closer look at his details, for the head sculpt, looks really solid. Couple of paint hiccups though is kind of the issue. Which something that's just kind of on this Godzilla in general is focus.
His focus.
His focus is he's got a couple of little paint slops here and there. One being right around his eyebrow, on his junk. He's got one there, and on the tail here. Which the only thing that kind of throws me off is they all seem different colored. Like that seems to be a different shade than what is here for the tail, so I don't know how that got there. That seems silver.
Yeah, there's some.
So is it like Kiryu's hiding inside of this Godzilla, and the only real reveal section of the monster, like you know how on Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla in the original, his like arm got damaged by Angerus?
Oh yeah, and it shows a little bit of it.
So is his junk? But for the teeth, done in a bone coloring. The only thing that seems kind of weird
is his jaw, lip.
Is over here, there's a little bit more excess red on the top section of his teeth. But then again, kind of looking at it, it looks like he's snarling a little bit more on this side. But I don't know if that's just because of the paint slap that just makes it look like it's more snarled. Well, yeah, I guess it is a little bit. There's a little bit of a lip. But there's still a little bit of red on the teeth. But for the most part, it just kind of makes him look like he's snarling a little bit more to me. Bottom row of the teeth look fine. A little small to me. Like the front teeth look like they're kind of bending a little bit backwards. Upper part of the mouth is done in a dark red. It doesn't appear to be a glossy finish over top of anything. So that's, I think, my only other complaint about this guy, paint job wise for the head, is I think the tongue maybe should have been done more of a gloss coloring. Same with maybe the roof of the mouth there as well. And real quick, because I forgot to mention in the video, but he does have googly eyes on my version in particular. So as you can see, this eye looking a little bit more upright, while the opposite eye is looking a little bit more straightforward. So, from the front, a little bit goofy, I'll admit it, but from the sides, he's not too bad. Because technically, like, at an angle, he looks great. It's just, if you're gonna have him like straight on fighting some Kiryus, you might have some problems. Moving down to the neck, where you get it's more iguana shape with the
whatever that is.
It's not really like it's like excess skin, but it always kind of looked like armor plating on the side of his neck there.
It looks weird, no matter which way you look at it.
Yeah, it sinks in a lot. Which is correct-ish for the movie. It just seems a little extreme on this guy, but it just could just be me.
No, it's pretty extreme.
But the neck is fairly elongated, but this Godzilla had a decent-sized neck, because you also got to remember, like, there's a head inside of here. In the suit actor.
Yeah.
And then the head is on top of the head. So, the necks are almost always a little bit longer anyways. So, it's nothing too major. Dorsal spines in this guy are gorgeous, though.
Beautiful.
You get the more Millennium spines on the back here with a lot of the hard edges for the dorsal spines here, with a lot of nice intricate detailing for the intersections of the spines, with it transitioning from a really bright bone color down to its more charcoal coloring that you get for the rest of the skin here, which this Godzilla has a lot of freaking sharp edges for his scaling.
He does.
Like, you get the more traditional Godzilla scaling for, like, the legs, the arms, and the tail. But just, like, coming along the back here, you get those more harder spikes that were very prevalent on the original Millennium suits.
Actually, that's what makes him look pretty.
Yeah, he's a freaking badass-looking Godzilla. Because, again, like, to me, 2000s Godzilla seems more like 90s Godzilla. Because just, you add spikes. It's like the 90s. You add spikes to everything.
Yeah.
That's 2000. Well, technically, I guess late 99, so it's still right. Well, this guy's still in the same vein where you get, like, spikes, spikes, spikes. It just seems that they just kind of kept the trend going up with them. But still really awesome looking. And then for his arms, very traditional Godzilla. A little bit more muscular. Same with the legs here too, where you get the more thin calf here. It's not quite as bulky as what you got with the 90s Godzillas too, but you get a little bit of muscle definition here on the back as well. A little bit of the rounded kneecaps. On the front, you get the 4 toes with a nice bone color for the nails sectioning there. With some yeah, the nails look really nice with some segmenting there for the toes as well. Some copyright information on the bottom, but some nice detailing there as well. Moving along for the tail, which is kind of thin for a Godzilla, right?
Well, I didn't expect it to be like shin tail, but I did expect a little bit of weight on it.
Yeah, it's got a very streamlined tail, which to me seems like probably the most whippy tail of all the Godzillas. Like, I feel like you get a nice little crack on that thing.
But it works out, though, because it stands up.
Oh, that's the best thing, because like the 2000 Godzilla figure, that tail is flat all the time. It's just like it's sort of articulated in that it can slide side to side, but that's all you can do. Well, this one stays up very nicely, which is really cool because you've been seeing that a lot in the newer Godzillas, like with the GMK Godzilla figure, the 2017 figure, the tail stays up very nicely. And to me, it's very 2014 looking. Or I guess 2014 tail is more this guy looking. Although the one thing that seems weird is I got a little stub right there. I think that's just the tail's kind of popped out is what it looks like. All right, that looks better. I was going to say, it looks like I had the wrong like scale bit.
You just needed some finessing.
Just a bit. But what I mean is that 2014's tail, while like long, it's very narrow for the Godzilla, which is just like what you see on this tail as well. And one final thing for his chest area is probably the weirdest gap that you're going to get on this guy because it's a little... Well, I was going to say, it's just a little sunken in for his tummy because it's like, he's got a little bit of chest, it goes in, and then he's got his little pouch in the front here.
He's got a man pouch.
He's got a manly pouch because especially if you rear it up, it kind of fixes itself a little bit more. But if you have him posing in, the gap looks...
His six-pack, no!
A little weird. But that's kind of just like the realm of articulated figures is certain poses are going to look a lot better than others with these guys. And speaking of the articulation, his mouth can open and close. I thought I heard somebody mention that the tongue is articulated.
You need a toothpick. Oh, it does.
It does lift.
All right, now move his eyes around so you can fix the googleness. Use the same wire.
Hold on, let me just solve this problem here. So the tongue is articulated. Head can up about that far. Now without moving the rest of it down about that far. I feel like that should go down a little bit more, but it doesn't feel like it. Like there's a joint here, but it's not really doing anything for me there. And then you get a little bit side to side wiggle. I can rotate side to side as well. Where his arms can go up about that far, down about that far. Can rotate all the way around if you want. Also have a swivel top section of the shoulder. Elbow can
he high five?
Bend about that far. Straighten up about that far. Hand can rotate all the way around. Not too much side to side motion. A little bit. Nothing crazy. Waist. A little bit side to side. Can bend forward about that far. Straighten up that far. Legs can go outwards about that far. Inwards about that far. Forward. Back.
Oh.
About that far.
Looks like Kane in there for a second.
A little bit of rotation, nothing too complicated. Forward kick about that far. Bend about that far. A little bit of rotation at the knee as well. Feet can go up about that far, down about that far. Rotate side to side. then for the tail, can pretty much, that's a really crazy bend.
You can do a lot with that tail.
I was like, you got a nice whipping action with that thing. Side. Just side. Up about that far. Straightens up about that far. So you can get them in the swinging poses as well. So I'm just going to say it. I'm going to have probably the worst comparison right now compared to most of the other reviewers that are doing the same action figure. But here he is compared next to the Kiryu from his same film and the Heavy Arms Kiryu from Tokyo SOS, which I grabbed him just so you guys can get a nice scale for the comparison for this video. But I'm only opening this guy when I'm doing the photos.
Steve, people need to see the full comparisons.
Yeah, right there. It's the same figure, just different accessories.
No, it's not.
Same figure, different accessories. So you get your scale of how they look next to each other right there.
Their eyes are different. I don't
but
like it.
During the photos at the end of the video, you'll see him with that one there. But for right now, here he is next to the box because it's autographed. And here is some more modern SH MonsterArts Godzilla figures with the Godzilla 2000 original version, or 1990s, whatever you want to call it, and the Shin Godzilla original version.
Are you trying to compare tails there, Steve, or the spines? Because either way, that poor Godzilla is outdone in either way.
Right? And here it is, some random collectibles with the YMSF Gabra and the Rocket Pro Flying Gamera 3.
Don't forget what he said. Collectibles. Gabra.
And here's some Pacific Rim action figures with the Robot Spirits Guardian Bravo and the Solo Shigoku Gypsy Danger. And here is with some random anime girls in my collection, which this is freaking bright as hell right now. But we have the FOTS Japan Taru from Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid and the Demoto Bene Mia from Monster Musume.
Alright, Steve, so last time I said something, we were comparing spines and tails. What are we comparing here? Googly eyes next to googly nipples?
Well, yeah, like, those don't seem right to me.
No. Must be because they're dragon nipples.
That could be it. She's okay. This thing came
I come over, first thing I do is pick her
out of
up.
the box.
First thing I do is pick her up.
Her
First thing
hair
that happens is her hair falls apart.
Isn't even like connected on the side of the head either. Also, she costs more than both. Well, technically, I think she's the same price as her.
Yeah, she was what, 180?
Yeah, she was like about
180.
180. Okay, so $10 cheaper for that one. Still, like 10 out of 10 compared to these two.
Godzilla wins!
Godzilla wins. And here's some other giant monster figures with the SH MonsterArts Mogira and the SH Figuarts Ultraman Geed Primitive.
You should guys give him a clap. This is his second appearance in a video.
Yeah, it's pretty much like we did him in an unboxing, and he's kind of just sitting down here ever since. His accessories are still over there on the shelf. Never been touched.
Poor guy.
Which is odd because I really like this outfit, but I just like, I'm going to do his review eventually. And it just hasn't happened.
So many
It's
things.
still probably not going to happen anytime soon. We love you though, Geed. So overall with the SH MonsterArts Godzilla 2002, this is a fine action figure. The articulation is really solid. Paint job maybe could be like slightly better. If it wasn't for the googly eyes and the paint slops, I think he'd be a fantastic figure.
I really do like him. He's not that bad. I like his tail, his spines, even his weird looking neck makes him look unique. You can definitely like point him out in a crowd of Godzillas.
Definitely. So for the price tag of $70, I think he's perfectly fine, to be honest. Because the eyes don't really bug me all that much. It's more the paint slops than anything, or really the unacceptable part. But since the last figure we had was that Mechagodzilla, like this is a step above.
Even with no accessories, Steve?
Even with zero. Like it would have been nice, maybe like 75 with a beam accessory would have been great. Outside of that, I'm still pretty happy with this guy overall. And he looks really sweet next to Kiryu. So he's going to do the job nicely.
Yeah, this is one of those scenarios where you would rather pay extra $5-10 for a beam or, you know, something that comes with him.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing like I wish they would start doing again with the MonsterArts line. Just because it's just like the figure's cool, but it's not as impressive as it could be if it came with something. Like give you like that little extra something. Because I know like their company, they want to make money, so they want to have something for that other figure. But this guy in particular, you're going to get the chest accessory anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's going to make him unique compared to this one. And maybe they could have tossed in something to go along with that one too. Something like movie specific, or maybe it could have came with Kiryu. And this one could have came with like the beam, so you would have had something for the next version to come out too. So yeah, I recommend this to you guys, especially if you're a big fan of the Millennium series and already have the Kiryu, then this is a nice little addition to that little collection.
You think he's gonna go up in price?
Probably. They almost always do over time.
So grab him while you can.
Yeah, they're one of those, like, if you want, I'm picking up sooner than later. That's just the easiest thing to recommend for MonsterArts figures. Like, especially if you really want them, always pre-order. Just always pre-order it. Because you never know, like, when you're going to have, like, the next Shin Godzilla. Or even, like, 2000 when it first came out, where it's just going to be, like, insta-gone. So you don't really want to be left out. But what do you guys think? Have you guys picked up the SH MonsterArts Godzilla 2002? What's your favorite SH MonsterArts figure? Or is Revoltex more your thing? Please let us know in the comments. We'll have closer pictures of this guy on our Facebook. You want to click the link in the description below. And we also have our Patreon account, exclusive prints for the channel, also down in the description. And help us defeat those guys just by hitting that like button, subscribe, become a ranger today. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.